You are now listening to the Business Chatter Podcast.
Are we recording?
I believe so.
All right. Cool. Glad to be back in person.
Welcome back.
In studio.
In studio,
Yeah.
live. Well,
For-
not live for you, but live for us.
For all of our followers and listeners and out there that tune in every week, all few of you.
Our parents, thank you.
Yeah. Mom, dad, maybe just my mom. I don't think my dad listens. We're happy to have you here. I'm Anthony.
I'm Chris, and this is the Business Chatter Podcast.
And that's Chris's dog in the background.
That's right. If you heard it, he was not happy in that one moment.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy you're here with us today. Thanks for joining us again. Today's going to be a little bit different of an episode, and we'll have some other ones like it coming down the line.
The human pod.
The human pod. We, so far you've come to us because we've probably badgered you in person or on LinkedIn to check out our podcast, and we thank you for that. We talk about entrepreneurship, startup to enterprise, value creation, and everything in between. Today, we want to let you know a little bit more about who we are and who you're listening to, so that way it's less of a mystery. You don't have to do as much outside research, and hopefully at this point you feel comfortable with us, but this might make you feel even more comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. Make Chris less of an enigma.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm not gonna give away all the secrets, but today's a good place to start.
I'll give away all the secrets.
And then coming on future episodes, we're going to have, as I mentioned, a get to know us as entrepreneurs, where we ask each other a couple tough, off the cuff entrepreneurial questions, and we'll answer those. That'll be a fun one as well. But
yeah, those are fun. And you're bad at it, but it makes it more fun.
Just wait. We already recorded mine. We haven't recorded Anthony, so I got something in store for him.
No, cool.
Just wait.
Yeah, I'm excited.
We'll make it fun. So to start, why don't we give a little bit about our backgrounds and go from there?
I hate doing this. This is like the worst part of job interviews for me.
You don't have to be formal. We're just chatting.
All right.
We're just chattering.
So where do I start? I guess I was born in New Jersey. I was raised in New Jersey. I've lived in some pretty cool cities outside of New Jersey. I've lived in New York. I've lived in London. I've lived in Boston, and the prime location, the crown jewel of everywhere I've lived, Kansas City, Missouri.
That's right.
That's right. It's currently where I call home. Did my undergrad at Harvard. Did my master's at University College London. Economist by trade. Studied a little public policy. Doing my MBA at NYU Stern part-time. Chris and I worked together at On Deck.
Yep.
Now I'm an economist for the federal government. Also joined the Marine Corps pretty recently. So I'm going to OCS and have a firm date for September. Might get pushed to May. Might leave Chris do the podcast here by himself to a cardboard cutout of me.
Yes. So we'll address that piece first. There may be some episodes where you just see me and some type of effigy of Anthony, or just me. And when he's away, I'll be kind of guiding the ship. And then when he comes back, we'll have more episodes. There'll also be some episodes that him and I pre-record that will come out during that time frame. So don't worry, you'll still see plenty of Anthony even while he's gone. So you won't have to be too upset while that's happening. But this was something that we knew was going to happen. We wanted to make sure that we laid the groundwork and had a chance to introduce ourselves while we're together, whether in person or virtual, and then get a chance to push things forward. So I was also born and raised in New Jersey. Great state. I had the opportunity to live in the entire tri-state area. So I lived in New Jersey where I was born. I lived in Hamden, Connecticut when I went to my undergrad at Quinnipiac University.
New Haven, dude. It's basically New Haven.
But I lived in Hamden.
Yeah, okay.
Like it's Quinnipiac is in Hamden. It's actually in Hamden.
I thought it was in like East Haven or something.
It's definitely Hamden.
West Haven.
Also not where it is.
South Haven.
It's in Hamden. And go Bobcats. Just won the Frozen Four championship, Hockey National Championship 2023. Go Bobcats. I did my master's at the University of Illinois, Geese College of Business. I currently work in alternative lending at a fintech company doing small business financing. I manage sales and business development. And let's see, what else? Did you say anything else? I'm trying to think.
No,
I have not lived abroad. I've been abroad, but I have not lived abroad. I also lived in Manhattan for a while, New York City, as we affectionately address it.
you have a kid. He has a kid.
Oh, I was gonna get there. We
Okay.
talked about actually the other episode's gonna come out after this. I'm happily married to a beautiful, strong woman, and we have a young son and a medium, like a middle-aged dog.
He's not super friendly.
He's not the friendliest, but he's so cute. Like you see this dog and you think that he is going to be the dog on a cartoon.
See, the thing with that is like everybody thinks their like dog is cute. It's like everybody thinks their kid is cute. Like you think your kid is ugly, Chris. Wow, your mom's gonna listen to this and hate me.
Like I'm not gonna share, my child publicly on the pod, but I would disagree. I would take the bet that we'd have more people say he's cute than not.
I take that back. I don't want to deal with the smoke from that.
Yeah, there's just wait till we're done.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, so that's me. Currently reside in New Jersey. Anthony lives, when he's not in Kansas City, he lives right here
on Chris's couch.
On the couch. And it's good to know a little bit about who we are. So we have varied experience. I've been working with small businesses for about a decade at this point. I have plenty of family members who have owned and operated small businesses. That's been a passion of mine for quite a while. My original background was history and criminal justice. So I took a pivot right before I graduated from college. And instead of pursuing my master's in education, I decided to take a job that I had been offered, that I had been interning at for a while, leveraged that into sales, and then decided that I wanted to go back to school to get my MBA so I could round out my entrepreneurial acumen. And during that process, Anthony and I had a lot of conversations about, bridging the gap between business school and the actual practice of entrepreneurship. And, having had a background in fintech and lending, for both of us being able to see and speak to a lot of business owners, we had a chance to really learn a lot about what works, what doesn't. And then with some of Anthony's background that he can go into more depth, being able to evaluate startups, larger businesses, and seeing some of the enterprise side of things, we thought that our strengths and weaknesses matched up in a way that we'd be able to create a community where we can help drive value from the experiences we've had, but also bring on those that have actually experienced it and are doing it, and take as much valuable expertise and insight from them as they're willing to share, which we're very grateful for those that have done it so far and those that'll come moving forward.
Yeah. And let's see if I can word this right. I always thought I wanted to be like a business person, somebody that, I wanted to found my own startup or work in strategy at a Fortune 500 or, be a general partner at a big venture fund, something along those lines. But as my careers developed and my passions have kind of developed, I never felt like super fulfilled in what I was doing. So I went to grad school. I studied public policy. I really wanted to learn about like the inner workings and again, bridging the gap between like the public and private sector and like how they can benefit each other. Because I feel like there's a lot of dead space in between, and like the world is not incredibly efficient.
You don't say.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So
sorry to burst the bubble for those of you that are early in your career. The world is not as efficient as it could be.
So I wanted to do something where I felt like I could understand where the inefficiencies came from, like where I could make a difference. And I think like what I'm doing now, like as an economist for the government, I feel like that's a great place. Like expose myself, whether I'm going to make a career out of it or not. Like right now, like I could definitely see myself doing it, but like really understanding like the intricacies and like the shortfalls, what works, what doesn't work at like a high level is like something that's super interesting to me. And it's super applicable to the private sector. And, obviously I can't share anything specifically like what I work on or what I do with the government at like a very specific level, but at least having an understanding. I don't know if this is making sense at all.
Well, it's how the machine works, right?
Yeah, is super beneficial even to this platform. A lot of people look at government workers and they're like, they don't do anything, like they don't know anything, like they're just cogs in the machine. But like what you do learn in your job, like especially as an economist, like you're learning how the world works. Like And a lot of people don't see that. Like that was the thing with On Deck. You worked with a lot of different businesses and a lot of different industries, and you learned how they worked as an organization.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't necessarily learn how they fit into the economy, but you like really learned like what they were doing. And like that was fulfilling, but it wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do. Working in venture, like you learn about larger businesses that are like at On Deck, a lot of these organizations didn't have goals of becoming enterprise. Venture, you learn about like the shifts they make to become enterprise and how they do it and the strategy behind it and like what you give to them and how it helps them.
Sure.
The government, you learn, like being an economist at that level, you learn how it all fits in.
Yep. How actions and decisions have short and long-term impacts, and where, maybe mistakes that have been made in the past could potentially, if avoided, can lead to a better future.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it does, just, in the time that you've been doing it, it does seem rewarding from the sense of you being able to, to use the skills that you have, and also, be able to think freely about things while still operating within, the confines of how economics and the world do need to operate. So you're not going off on these crazy tangents, but you have a chance to think, and you're not expected to be outrageously creative and, reinvent the wheel. It's a matter of seeing how everything matches up and what small tweaks and changes can be done to improve.
Yeah, exactly. And I think those things can be taken with me into the Marine Corps as well.
Absolutely.
Again, it's something that it's not, I mean, I guess everything is relevant, right? Like being in the military, being an officer, whether it be in the Army or the Marine Corps or Navy, like people take their life experiences and their education, they apply it to being a leader, and like having differences in life experiences between leaders is, what makes the military, I think, functional. I mean, if officers all had the same mindset, same ideals, like nothing would ever change. It would kind of like be a ball rolling in mud.
Yeah.
Or like a tire turning in mud, digging itself in. But I think my perspectives, hopefully, again, will be something that is beneficial. And like, I very much have the mentality. I don't know if we talked about it on here before, but like, thinking like if I'm qualified and I can do it, and I don't think like there's a reason I shouldn't. Like, if not me, then who? Like, I don't think that like personally, like I don't think there's anybody better than me at anything I do that I want to do. Like, it's not like I'm cocky or arrogant. Like, maybe I am a little bit.
I mean, it might be that too. But
yeah, but like it's a mindset too. Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And well, that ties right back to entrepreneurship in general, right? There has to be the element of you where you have these goals that, what do they say? Like, if your goal isn't scary, it's not big enough, right? If people don't think that you're crazy when you have these goals, you're not shooting high enough. Yes, you have to be confident in yourself. You have to be able to acknowledge your weaknesses. You have to know where you may need help on things, but at the same time, yeah, like I feel the same way with certain things. I'm like, there's no one who's going to do this better. There's no one that's going to have a better response to this, who's going to be more dedicated, whatever the case is. And, there's times where there is someone who's better, but that's a great opportunity to be able to learn and potentially use that as motivation to have, someone in the same echelon to be able to, to chase, to compete with, to make each other better.
Right. And the only reason I bring this up is because like we're talking about ourselves. Like, I don't want anybody that meets me in person to get the idea that like I am cocky or like self-centered or anything. It's just like, I just very much am of the mindset like I am like the best at anything I'm doing. Like, otherwise, like
why do it?
Why do it?
Yeah. You have to have your own back.
Again, I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not afraid to do anything I don't think I can be the best at. But if I'm going to do something, I will go in with the intention that I will be the best. Again, it doesn't mean I don't respect other people. I don't think other people are like bad at things. I don't think that, people that are subordinate to me in any role are also like any less capable than me. It's just think that I believe that in my role, whatever role I'm put in or like told to be in or apply for, I only do it like, or I do it with like the purpose and intent that like I will be the best at this.
Sure. Yeah.
Again. Yeah. Don't know if that made sense. Don't know if I got lost in my own words there.
Well, it's part of what we do with the podcast. We prepare for guests, right? And we prepare in the sense of we have an idea as to what we're going to talk about, but we're chattering. There's nothing scripted. We're not sitting here we're not writing down every word to make sure that it's properly crafted to be approved and accepted and enjoyed by every person who's listening. So, just like everything else, there's a rawness to what we're doing. And I think, speaking for both of us, find value in that, because there's certainly times where if we misspeak or we make a mistake or whatever the case is, like that's life and that's what happens. And you need to be able to rebound from that. So yeah, sometimes we talk ourselves down a road and we have to figure out how to, make a turn or turn around or whatever the case is. But, this is the authentic conversation that we're having. We can make things as polished and as clean as we want, but that's not how the world works. And especially that's not how business works.
Yeah. And I think I can speak for both of us here. Like both of us think like anything we do, we can be the best at, but it doesn't mean like we can't improve. Like,
oh, for sure.
We're not saying like, I'm not sitting here saying like we have the best podcast. No, like 0%. But we also wouldn't be doing this. We wouldn't be spending our time and energy on this if we didn't think we could be great at it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the only way we're going to is by exposing ourselves and doing it.
Yeah.
We have to show up. We have to be consistent. We have to take feedback. One thing I'll call out. So there's a good buddy of mine. He was my roommate one of my roommates in college, and he's been very supportive of the podcast. He reached out to me with some feedback, which was great feedback. And, the fact that he has been spending his time to listen to us and to put together a well thought out and considered critique of something that actually Anthony and I both thought about independently, and then had a chance to hear the feedback from someone who's not involved in the process at all. It was actually really refreshing. And it's something that's great to see, because not only do we look at that as an extremely supportive move, but it's something that we have to humble ourselves and be there to receive it. So
exactly,
there will be some changes coming in the future from a formatting standpoint. More to come on that. It's all good, positive stuff. It's still going to just be Anthony and I, so nothing crazy. But just do want to call that out.
And this is why we say to like every episode at the end, send us the email, like give us your criticism, give us your feedback. We will take it into account. Like those don't go to dead space. Like we want a podcast that consumers want to listen to. We don't do this for ourselves to hear ourselves talk. I mean, we do, like everything is like, I also believe that everything is done intrinsically to some extent. So like, yes, we do it for ourselves, like to some extent, but like, we don't want to put out a product that nobody wants to listen to. We don't want a podcast that has 50 listeners, 100 listeners. Like we want a podcast that has
keep going. Just throw an outdate.
I didn't want to throw an outdate. I wanted to say reach.
Well,
we want a podcast that has reach. And we're not saying 100. If we have 500 listeners every podcast, like that means we're providing value to 500 people.
Yeah.
But it also, like, 500 is not what I consider global reach or reach.
Sure. There's a scale and scope that comes along with it. And, along with that point, like we've talked about since the beginning, we really want to build a community. Everybody who's listening or watching, first of all, thank you. But you have another podcast or show that you watch and listen to that you tell your friends about. We do it the same. Like we have different podcasts that we listen to that we reach out and we're like, hey, did you see this? Check out this clip, whatever the case may be.
Or TikToks. Chris doesn't watch TikToks.
I'm not a TikTok person.
My brother deleted TikTok too.
Good.
Yeah, very anti-TikTok.
Anti-TikTok.
Yeah.
No TikTok. So, but yes, in that vein, everyone has that. I really appreciate when someone sends me something that I can then learn from. We want to build a community, and we hope that the individuals who are listening are not only listening because they support us and they're being, good friends, colleagues, whatever, family, whatever the case may be. But the hope is that you're listening, you find something valuable. It helps you. It helps your business. It helps your friend or family member who has a business, and you share it with them, and that continues to get shared. And then, there's some high school kid in Missouri who's trying to build their own business.
Kansas City.
Oh, I was going to say Kansas City specifically, but I didn't want to make it too, I didn't want to only hone in on Kansas City because there's other beautiful places in Missouri.
And Kansas.
Kansas.
Great state of Kansas. I'm not going to lie. Shawnee, Kansas. I love it.
I mean, I'm excited to go out and visit.
I could see myself living in Shawnee, Kansas long term.
There you go.
Yeah, love it.
So reach out and, share your spots. But, if someone hears this and, you're 16, 17, 18, you really don't know, you see all these people, you listen to the Gary V's and the Grant Cardones and you see all this stuff and something's not clicking, and you happen to come across our podcast and one of our guests says something or we say something that truly resonates and it helps you bridge the gap and go from, this idea you have to like getting out there, that's the best possible thing that could happen. Realistically. I like the long form because we're sitting here talking for 20 minutes. where, we can flesh ideas out when the time comes, where we are sharing information and insights that we're learning from our years of experience, from our interactions with seasoned professionals, and they're sharing that as well. One thing to go back to, I know you mentioned, kind of what you wanted to be when you were younger. Yeah, well, you said you always wanted to be a businessman,
right.
but
And an astronaut
well, I mean, who didn't want to be an astronaut at
and a
some
cop.
point?
Kind of want to be a cop when I was younger. I don't know what, for like maybe like a month.
Well, I mean, cop, firefighter, you cycle through all like the cool, you know. Well, anyway, I mean,
President.
I wanted to be in a band. I was like, I'm going to be a rock star. I'm going to go on tour. I'm
Chris
going to
wanted
do
to
all
be
this
Zach
stuff.
Wilde.
That's an interesting reference. Zach Wilde is a very good guitar player. Awesome guitar. Interesting reference.
Yeah. Am I wrong?
I mean, maybe not Zach Wilde specifically. I was more of like I was like a Korn fan. I liked Limp Bizkit. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I love all like the classic stuff, but of our era, like genre,
Chris wanted to be
Every Time I Die, great band.
Chris wanted to be the third unknown guitarist of Rascal Flatts. Like, like the one traveling guitarist they have that like they don't like he's in the band, but he's not really in the band.
Yeah.
Like I think Green Day has like I think his name's Jason something.
Yeah, Green Day's extra guitar player.
Yeah, he's like in Green Day. If you Google Green Day, like he comes up, but
he's
it's
on the
and
Wikipedia
also
page.
him.
Yeah.
Chris wanted to be that guy. Honestly, best role in a band.
Oh, I mean, that's a great you tour. Well,
I mean, being
here's the thing though.
In general, but
I feel like the studio is like a fun part.
It's like being
if
a
you're not in the
backup
studio,
quarterback.
it's not as fun. I mean, backup quarterback's the best job in sports.
Says Blue Mountain State.
There's no question that backup quarterback is the best job in sports. It's hands down. There's no other sport job. Okay, whatever. Off tangent. Want to do that. I always have wanted to own a business in some capacity, having watched like my grandfather's extremely entrepreneurial. He's had tons of businesses throughout my whole life.
Chris's grandpa's wait, are we talking about your I don't know. I only know
my grandfather who yeah.
He's a total badass.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He is.
I'm afraid of him.
Me too.
Because he's a badass.
Me too.
I'm afraid I've met him one time and I'm afraid I'll disappoint him.
He actually shared some feedback about the podcast as well. And it was really cool. My grandfather is in his 90s and he is more tech savvy than a lot of people that we both know.
Doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got his side hustles and he's owned restaurants, he's owned fruit trucks, he's owned window washing businesses, power washing businesses.
He's a Marine Corps officer.
He flew helicopters.
Yeah.
He's accomplished quite a bit, and he's definitely instilled a lot of great value for our family. And for me speaking specifically, I'm really grateful for all the exposure that he gave me. He owned a deli. So when I was young, I literally got to go in and watch him paint it, put it together, build it, sell it. Like
meat.
It was really, it was a crash course in entrepreneurship that I had no idea that I was getting at the time. And now I look back and I realize how much that influenced me. So I'm really grateful for that. Shout out to my grandpa. And, those putting it all together now, I really think that COVID actually helped shift my mindset more from, I started business school before COVID and I was doing it remotely. It was online. The Geese business program is excellent, top tier program for online learning. And
spoken like a true alumni of the program, trying to pump up their own school ranking.
That's right. And
I heard NYU Stern is better than Harvard Business School these days, guys.
Hey, shout out NYU. Yeah. Shout out University of Illinois. But in all seriousness, like I was like, to further my career, going to business school is going to help me talk the talk, right? Speak the same language, be in the room. And during COVID, the more I thought about it, I was like, this is something that I can see myself doing. I need to figure out what and how I want to do it. And that's something that's in the future. It's not right now, but being able to think about it and understand it, I definitely feel more comfortable. And I know that I'm still far away, and being able to do what we're doing has been so invaluable to be able to learn and understand and kind of, mentally put it together.
You have your own business. This podcast, we filed taxes for this.
We did. Yeah. We did. Actually, we're recording this the day before tax day. So yeah, we did pay taxes.
We did. We are tax. Well, I I am very pro-government. They feed me.
Yeah, they
I will
definitely.
pay my taxes.
Yeah, you do gotta pay taxes. That's you could argue about the logistics of it, but you got to do it. It'd be foolish to not.
Hey, Donald Rumsfeld, in his old age, thinks the tax code should be simplified.
I mean, if
Listen,
the tax code was simpler, it would be better
I'll make no other comments on Donald Rumsfeld other than I can see why people would agree with his perspective.
on the tax code.
I have no opinion.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair, and I'll reserve my opinions
Yeah.
maybe for another
I have
podcast.
zero opinions on the government.
All right. On that note,
Is that
before we wrap it up, is there anything else that we want to include? Do we think that we're, if there is anything else you want to know about us, please send us an email, host@businesschatterpod.com. We'll respond. We'd love to answer it. And maybe we could talk about it more. Like I said, there will be 2 more episodes, one with me answering entrepreneurial questions, the second with Anthony. And then we'll be back to, we have a great run of guests lined up. We just have to record with them. You want to talk about, well, Anthony's going to be away for a short time, like we mentioned. So,
am I going to talk about that now?
well, no, I mean, we kind of mentioned it earlier. I don't know if you want to provide more detail on it, or we can talk about it at another juncture.
Well, I guess we can talk about it now. So as of right now, I'm going to be gone starting September 14th through November. I will still be gone after that. I will just be available in a remote recording capacity for a little while. It may get pushed up to May 27th, and then I'll be gone through August, and then it'll be like the same thing. I'll be available after August in a remote recording capacity. Again, nothing's for sure except the September date. So if you guys are planning on missing me, don't plan on missing me until September, unless you have to start missing me in late May.
You may have to miss him earlier.
Yeah.
But we'll keep you posted on all that. Don't worry. We're not going anywhere. There's just, some life that's going to be happening throughout. And our goal will always remain to be providing value to you and giving you something to listen to us chatter about on your commute or however and whenever you listen to us.
That's right.
All right. End it there.
Do you listen to, I know you do the editing, but do you actively listen to our podcasts?
I do.
Ooh, they scare me.
I do. Yeah. I have it set on Spotify to automatically download and notify me when it's available. And then I watch it on Spotify and,
get our view count up.
Well, I want to make sure it works.
It might sound like I really like the sound of my own voice, but I avoid it like the plague.
I mean, nobody likes the sound of their own voice. It's tough.
True.
Honestly, though, like mics and effects are very helpful because
Who's mic?
Like this mic.
Just kidding. Just busting you.
I mean, there's a guy named Mike. I'm sure that could help too.
I know somebody named Mike.
I do too.
Yeah.
We both know somebody.
I know a couple people named
we
Mike.
both know multiple people named Mike.
They're all
Same
pretty
guys.
nice people, honestly.
Yeah. If your name is Mike,
good guy.
Yeah.
Probably at least a B+ human.
Yeah.
Some are A's, but you're at least a B+ in my mind. So if you're a Mike that knows me, know that you're at least a B+. You guys can sort it out between you.
Who's who?
Yeah.
But all right. All right. Well, that's a good way. That's a good place to do it. Go ahead. Say some stuff.
Yep. All right. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, like it. 5 stars on Spotify.
Please give us a rating if you think it's better than 3 out of 5. If you don't, maybe just send us an email and tell us how we can improve.
Yeah. And then you can rate it.
And then you can rate it after it gets better.
You get an email before you get a rate if it's lower than 3 stars.
Yeah, please.
That's our
Are we allowed to guide in that way? I don't know.
We'll find out. We can do a little hand holding here. Yeah. All right. Yeah. You can find us on Instagram, Business Chatter Pod. You can email us ideas like Chris's friends have done. host@businesschatterpod.com. I should really just say people. We shouldn't say your friends. We should just say listeners.
Well, yes, but I wanted to call this person out because I really do appreciate it. It was very meaningful. In the future, I'll say listeners, but in fairness, they did independently listen. I didn't ask them to do it. They reached out and said, "Hey, I've listened to X amount of episodes. This is it." And then they followed up after they watched the most recent
I know some
one.
people that I work with that listen to it and they'll give me feedback. Somebody actually was like, "Oh, you made a pretty good reference in the podcast the other day." I didn't even know what the reference was.
Nice.
I was like, "Oh." I mean, I remember making the reference, but I didn't realize I made it live on the podcast.
Okay. So, hey, that's a good thing. More references to come.
So I'm gonna do Chris's part here. We'll see.
No,
Yeah, yeah. Wait, no.
come
Can you just
on.
tell me how I do?
That's the best. What's the best
All
part.
right, you can do it.
No, go
Can
ahead.
I do?
No,
Can I do the?
go.
Let me do the last sentence.
This part?
Let me finish your last sentence.
Like the tag?
Yeah, you just stop at some point. I'll finish it.
Ah, the tag is my favorite part.
I want to finish your sentence.
Thank you for your time. We know it's very valuable. Thank you for sharing it with us. We're the Business Chatter Podcast.
No, keep going.
Consider us your crash course on value creation through the words of individuals
Who have done it before.
We'll see you next time.
All right.